Two people asking if we're gonna do Half-Life Alyx By a bot. I'm gonna insert this at the beginning of the video. Yes, we're gonna do Half-Life Alyx By a bot. We would have already, but we're waiting for Mahogany to finish the game. But we're probably just gonna go ahead and do it without him finishing it, because I honestly don't think it's gonna spoil him. Should we start with Twitter questions, or second channel questions, or main channel questions?
We'll pick a number between 1 and 6.
4.
Alright, we'll start with the second channel questions.
How did you guys all meet each other?
Wait, are we starting? Are we starting already?
Yeah. I guess I could tell my perspective, and then you could tell your perspective. It all started in the year 2014. I hadn't met Marble or Mahogany yet, and I found this YouTube channel called Venturian Tale, and they were really funny, and they played Garry's mod and stuff. I subscribed to them, and I was following them on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. One day on Facebook, I think it was, one of the people from Venturian Tale was like, "Hey, I'm playing this game called Galaxy Warfare, and it's really cool and hip. You should come play it with me." And I didn't even see that Facebook post, actually. My mom pointed it out to me. She was like, "Did you see what Isaac said?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And then she showed me, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" So, oh yeah, I was like 13 or 14 years old at the time. So then I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna join that game tomorrow." So then like the next day comes, and I make an account for Galaxy Warfare, and like, oh my gosh, it's him, it's Isaac, it's Homeless Goomba, he's here, he's real. And then there was like a couple of these other nerds that were like hanging around him. And, yeah, those nerds were Mahogany and Marble.
I was part of the entourage who had showed up from the DeviantArt post 2 weeks before.
I assumed that you and Marble had been around for like months at that point, but didn't you say
Marble had, but I hadn't?
Yeah, no, back then I thought like, oh, these guys are legit. They're like Isaac's best friends. They must have been here for years. So yeah, that's how I met them and how they met me. We just
Full disclosure, we were not Isaac's best friends.
Yeah. You and I were at odds with each other when we first met, because I just remember you being like, not like extremely hostile towards me, but just like generally negative at first. And then I remember being like, "Geez, what's this guy's problem?" And then we became closer friends when you like DM'd me like a week or two later, and you were like, "Hey, you know how to make Minecraft servers, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess." And you're like, "Can you make Minecraft server for Galaxy Warfare?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then that's like when our friendship truly started, was on the Team Galaxy Warfare Minecraft server that I set up. Your
Okay, so yeah, like I said, I joined on the when the DeviantArt post happened like 2 weeks before. It was in mid-February of 2014, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm hip with the DeviantArt, so I can just sneak on in here and nobody's gonna be aware, and I can talk to Isaac." Well, it turns out a lot more people were on DeviantArt than I thought. And so when Isaac said he was going to post on Facebook, actually he didn't really say it, I just kind of figured it out after a swarm of people appeared. I'm like, okay, we need some law and order around here.
The
so
police.
I formed the Galaxy Warfare Police. And essentially, I gave myself power that I literally did not have. And then I messaged Timbleweebs. He was like, or I basically asked him, "Hey, you seem like you're not a total moron around here. How would you like to be part of the police?" Because I thought you were like 8 years old or something. You seem a lot more down to earth than everyone else. And so you're like, "Yes, sir, I want to join."
Yeah. Next question. Did Bob Orlando from the award-winning feature film Desert Bus Ride, A Romance Story, and For Ladies survive? And if so, did the hospital bills kill him instead? Thanks for the wacky stuff you've been putting out through the years. From Bomb Fan. So did Bob Orlando survive?
He survived long enough to get us on the YouTube trending tab.
Bob Orlando did survive. There's no evidence to the contrary. I'm pretty sure he's made a cameo in like every machinima we've made besides like the very first few machinimas, like Fight of Metal Gears at Babylon. In all seriousness, I actually don't know if he survived in the actual canon lore because we didn't write Desert Bus Ride. Peter Chimera did. He's a fanfiction.net writer from like a decade ago.
I would say fanfiction.net artiste, but who's really into semantics? Next question.
Alyx96 asks, are the three of you online friends only, or do you guys hang out in real life? Yeah, no, we've never met in real life. We want to, and we were like planning on it for a long time. But then it never happened, and now it's probably physically impossible. Loggers asks, where did your usernames come from? Do you want to go first?
Well, I like the word mahogany, and I play Minecraft. So, okay, so Mahogany, there's a scene from the Hunger Games movie where Effie Trinket, goes, "That is mahogany." And I'm like, mahogany sounds cool. I'm gonna use it. And it doesn't actually sound cool, but now I've grown fond of it. So, you know, we're here now.
So my username when I first joined Galaxy Warfare and met Marvel and Mahogany was Qui-Gon. I had Mahogany on Skype. Your profile picture was still Randy. I was constantly trying to get you to play TF2 with me because it was my favorite game at the time. I was spamming Mahogany on Skype. He was very hard to convince at the time to play TF2 with me. So I'd spam him like almost every day, asking him to play TF2 with me. And I did it again this one day, and he wasn't answering for like a really long time, so I was spamming tumbleweed emojis on Skype. And you could do that by typing tumbleweed : I think was the code for it. I was spamming it really fast, and I accidentally misspelled it as Timbleweeds instead of tumbleweed, and I thought it was funny. I don't remember if you thought it was funny. I have no recollection if you even noticed, but I just remember thinking it was funny, and then me saying like, "Oh, that sounds like a really fancy British name, like, oh yes, my name is Zachariah A. Timbleweebs." And so then, I don't know if I actually named myself Zachariah A. Timbleweebs on Steam, or if I just named myself Timbleweebs on Steam. But I just did it as a joke, because that was kind of a thing that we did back then. If we found a word or something that we thought was funny, we would just use it as our Steam profile name for like a couple of days, and then revert it back to our actual username. And I changed my Steam name to Timbleweebs after that because I thought it was funny, and then it just kind of stuck, and I never changed it. Marvel just got his name because he really liked Marvel Studios stuff and comics.
His original name was Mr. Marvel 19, and we basically just corrupted it with our speech that we came up with on Skype as Marvel.
How did you guys discover Half-Life? I'll let you go first because my answer is probably going to be really long-winded.
Honestly, I discovered it for Timbleweebs. Like, I discovered Garry's mod first before anything because I watched Venturian Tale, and I had no idea what Half-Life even was. And one day I think I asked, like, what's Source Engine? It's like, it's the thing that runs game Half-Life and Portal, and I'm like, what's Half-Life? And so I learned about Half-Life 2, and then for Christmas that year, I remember, I think this was like 2014 Christmas, I'm like, I'm gonna get the orange box with my Steam gift card. And so I did, and I never finished the game until like early 2020.
It's like a 7-year journey. I discovered Half-Life at an extremely young age. I was like 5 or 6, I think. I was like 5 years old. We just had like a bunch of PC games in a drawer at my house. That was one of the discs we had in the floating around loose inside the drawer, so a lot of them were like extremely scuffed. We had a lot of first-person shooter, like 90s shooter games, and Half-Life was in there, so I just remember like wanting to play it really bad and not being allowed to at first, and then like a year or so later I finally got to play it, and it was really cool, and it was probably one of my favorite games we had on the PC. Very first time I saw Half-Life 2 though, I remember the day he was installing it, there was like 6 discs needed to install it. It was like, it was such a big game back then, and it took like all night to install it, and then when he finally got it installed, I just remember watching him play through the intro where he's like walking through the train station and getting chased by the Combine, and then that dude like bars the door and he's like, "Get out of here quick!" And then he like, you have to go to the rooftops. And then he like turned off the game at the rooftops and he's like, "All right, time for bed." And I'm like, "No, that was awesome. I want to see the rest." And then it was like another year or two until I could actually play it and get past that part. But yeah, those are good memories. I really liked Half-Life a lot. What was your favorite project or video series to work on? Asked by Astro Tom.
My favorite gameplay videos are just like those one-offs we do, like Far Cry 5 and stuff. Video projects, it would have to be Half-Life 2 Episode 2 by a bot.
I can't remember my own machinimas right now. Desert Bus Ride had some really fun moments.
Yeah, I enjoyed Desert Bus Ride.
Yeah, Desert Bus Ride was fun. Besides the part where I had to keep rebuilding the bus from scratch every time we had to do another take. But yeah, I would say my favorite machinimas to work on would probably be Desert Bus and Babylon 13. But like, if I could choose my own machinimas, like the ones I did by myself, I had a lot of fun making that cat and the JC Denton videos were really fun to do, especially the one where he was dancing.
Oh, here's a question that I'll ask. Which do you think was worse to record, Portal 2 by a bot or Leon's Half-Life 3?
Portal 2 by a bot. I think that kind of takes the cake for the most pain I've endured on any project we've ever made. Leon's Half-Life 3 was a pain, but it wasn't like it didn't feel as miserable as Portal 2 by a bot did for me. That was a relief to get finished.
I'd say the payoff on Portal 2 by a bot was more. It was better because that was our first video to hit 1 million views, though.
Oh yeah, it was worth it. It was just painful. But yeah, I think like gameplay video wise, Jazztronauts and Far Cry 5, I really enjoyed.
Far Cry 5 was such a good video. Dying Light was really good as well.
Dying Light was pretty funny too. Yeah, both of those videos didn't get very many views at all, though.
Go watch it right now.
Why did you start making videos? Asked by, I'm gonna butcher this as if I haven't butchered the rest of their names yet so far. Andred Schmago. Why did you start making videos? That's a fairly short answer. We started making videos because we really liked Icton's Full Life Consequences videos. Which, if you don't know what those are, link in description. I show clip on. I show clip on video right now. But yeah, so we really liked Icton's Full Life Consequence videos. I still remember the day I discovered it. There were a heck ton more scripts that Squirrel King and Peter Chimera wrote, which were the scripts that he was using for his Full Life Consequence videos, that he didn't do. He like didn't make machinimas out of them. So I messaged Mahogany and I was like, we should make the rest of the scripts that he hasn't done, because I don't think he's gonna do it. It's been like years since he did a machinima. So then we basically
we did.
Yeah, so we did. We just kind of picked up where he left off and started with Fight of Metal Gears 1, which was next on the list of scripts that he would have animated if he didn't stop. So that's why we started. But
I don't know about that mumbo jumbo, but I personally started because the YouTube market for Minecraft TARDIS maps was completely dry. And I needed to contribute my part.
I remember your TARDIS videos. I remember you either posting them or I just remember finding them on your channel when I very first met you. What's your favorite Half-Life 2 chapter? Asked by Curly Fry. What Mahogany?
I don't know the names of the chapters.
I do. Just say which part is your favorite, and I'll tell you what the name of the chapter is.
The one where we're running through City 17, like toward the end when we have our whole posse of people who are gonna die.
Okay, so that's either Follow Freeman.
Follow Freeman, that's it.
Okay, yeah, that's Follow Freeman. So Mahogany's favorite Half-Life 2 chapter is Follow Freeman. Yeah, it's a pretty cool chapter. I don't know. Root Canal is so iconic at this point. I don't know. It's probably because I was really into Half-Life 2 modding when I very first started playing Half-Life 2, and every time I got a new mod for Half-Life 2, I would test it by starting Root Canal every single time, because that's the very first chapter in the game where combat starts. I always have a hard time picking favorites. I take a long time when someone asks me what my favorite anything is, because with something like that, it's like the whole game is my favorite, so it's really hard to pick and choose specific parts. But because then I think like, oh, but the part where you very first show up at Nova Prospect is really cool too.
Well, yeah, there's different parts of different chapters that I really like.
A lot of people ask this question, so I guess on screen I'm just gonna put pictures of every person that asks this question. There's two questions that everybody asks that's kind of similar, which is how did the channel start, channel origin, and also where did you get the name Deadwater? The name itself came from when we were still on Galaxy Warfare, and I wanted to make a Half-Life 2 mod because I really liked Half-Life 2, and I had an idea for this mod that I thought would be really cool to make. So I started researching how to make a Half-Life 2 mod, and I started getting things ready, and then I was like, hey, I should have my friends help. It would be cool. So then I was like, hey, Mahogany and Marvel and Wolf and Cat and everyone, do you want to help me make a Half-Life 2 mod? They're all like, yeah, sure.
None of us ever actually helped.
Yeah, so
on record.
Yeah, so then we formed a group, and I was like, oh, we gotta have a really cool name for our modding company. And I couldn't think of anything, no one else could think of anything, so I was like, okay, here's the deal. I'm gonna go on companynamegenerator.net, and then I'm gonna click generate name like 5 times, choose the coolest sounding ones, and then we'll take a poll and vote on which name sounds the coolest. So then we voted, and the options were Deadwater Media, Biofly Productions, and then like something that had to do with like radio or broadcasting signals. I don't know. It had something to do with that. It was like Faulty Signal Games or something. And Deadwater Media won.
Those other 2 names actually would have been good if we actually made games.
Yeah, and I started work on the mod. I didn't get very far, but I started work on it. I really don't know what I was thinking because I don't think anybody in the group that we made had even played Half-Life at that point besides me. Like, I know you didn't play it at that point.
Marvel didn't play it till like late 2015, early 2016.
Yeah, it took Marvel extremely long time to play it through its entirety, but then it didn't really work out, and I ended up doing all the work. And I still have footage as well as the actual game files for what I managed to complete of the mod, which is basically nothing because I made a few test maps because I was getting used to Hammer, so they were like a couple of these maps that were supposed to be kind of connected to the lore of the mod that we were making, but I wasn't gonna like include them in the game because I was just kind of testing things out. But yeah, so I made a couple of test maps and that's all I managed to do, but I still have all the files, as well as some video footage that I'll probably overlay. Oh yeah, and the original Deadwater Media logo, as well as the original Anti-Trooper logo, which is the name of the mod that we were making.
I think at one point where the mod fell apart is I broke to you that I had no experience with anything and I just wanted to voice act in the mod.
I mean, I knew you had no experience in modding or video game creation, period, like before I even asked you.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I kind of just expected us all to work together on like coming up for ideas with the storyline and like writing and designs, like character designs and stuff like that.
And that, kids, is the time we learned not to take ourselves too seriously.
It was like, even though we didn't get anything done, it was still extremely enjoyable to work on, and it's still like one of my favorite memories of our friend group. I don't know why, I just really enjoyed it, but yeah, that's how we got the name Deadwater. When we started making machinimas, I changed it from Deadwater Media to Deadwater Gaming. It wasn't meant to replace Deadwater Media, it was meant to be like a sister company, because I had intended to change the Half-Life 2 mod that I originally wanted to make into an animation series, which I managed to complete one episode of. But yeah, and then Deadwater Media kind of fell apart because then we stopped doing things other than playing video games and making machinimas. But yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna cut all this down, by the way. I know I'm like really long-winded with every single answer I come up with, but I that's just how my brain works. I can't help it. What are your thoughts on me, the guy who keeps saying cheese in your videos, by Jimmy John Jr., aka the guy who keeps commenting cheese on every single second channel video? My only thought is stop! El Picasso asks, what is your favorite games, and do you prefer older or newer games? Short answer, I prefer older games because all the newer games have been absolute trash lately because
they don't playtest them.
They don't playtest them, and most of them are like limited time event fests. It's weird. It's like the base game itself is extremely small, and then the like what makes up the rest of the game is all like limited time only events. So it's like, oh, well, you know, there was like a lot to do in the game 2 months ago, but they, you know, it's gone now. So what about you?
I'd say I prefer older games for sure. I'm more like, I like the Pokemon games for sure, but I think my all-time favorite game story-wise is probably Spider-Man PS4, but
oh yeah, that one's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm so confused. When Gmod decided to update and screw with all my add-ons and like enable and disable a bunch of them without notifying me, you have to understand my add-ons list is extremely long because I don't unsubscribe from any of them, the majority of them. So I'm still subscribed to add-ons that I subscribed to like 6 or 7 years ago. And since it just kind of like enabled and disabled a bunch of random ones, some of these I don't even remember what they are. I was gonna change the server to surf mode so that we can surf while we're answering questions, but I go to change game mode, and in the list of game modes, there's a game mode called Derek. Derek! I don't know what that is. So, right. Lightning round 1 of second channel questions, because there's a bunch of really quick ones.
Alright.
Okay, this question is by Oofersman, asks, what software do you use to actually record your gameplay? I have started getting into video making, and I want to know how I can improve a little more. We use OBS.
Yep.
That's it. Did you guys ever try out Half-Blox 2? It's a Half-Life 2 remake in Roblox. No, we haven't. I saw it. I saw a video on it, but I think it's only the very first level. Will you ever do a face reveal, Timbleweebs? No. Mahogany already did face reveal on his channel, if you're curious. Will you guys be doing any more Gmod machinimas, or will it just be more co-op / couch commentaries? Asks Kloss. Yes, we're definitely going to do more machinimas, but primarily co-op videos. Do you have any tips for editing? Also, poison head crabs are absolutely terrifying. I hate them so much. Why did Half-Life Alyx make them scarier? Please help. Asked by Alwas.
Okay, first off, there are poison head crabs in Half-Life Alyx.
Any tips for editing? I mean, I don't really have any specific formula for our more recent videos. The videos I've been posting in the last year or so, all I do is just cut out the parts that I don't think are funny or interesting, and then just keep the parts that I think are funny and interesting. I've been kind of shying away from heavily editing our videos lately. Like, you know how like most people cut out all of the silences so that it's just commentary all the time. There's absolutely no silences like in between commentary. I've come to kind of not like that. So I've been intentionally leaving a lot of stuff in between commentary, whether like not complete silence, usually like either gameplay content or something that's interesting, not just nothing. But I don't like that style of editing. It makes me nervous to watch, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like there's room to breathe, in other words. How did you manage to kill water? Asked by Jeff Garbanzo.
Why does everyone ask that?
No comment. And then under that he says, how do you complete projects? Is it easier to see them through to the end when other people work with you, or is there some other way to motivate yourself? I don't think I have an answer to that. I don't know how we manage to complete projects at all. It's a miracle that we are able to, in any sense of the word. Fiona the Sheep asks, should I follow my dream about playing guitar? It's rare that I get an inspiration like this, so I think I need some affirmation. Love
Yes.
you. Also, if I may, is the train has sailed yet? What?
No idea what that last part means, but yes, play guitar.
Yes, play guitar. I actually bought an electric guitar 3 months ago or less, and I'm really excited about it. Why do you guys sound loopy, tired / high when you are playing Garry's mod? We kind of just sound like that 24/7, and it's probably because we're exhausted 24/7.
We're never high though. We have that going for us.
Opinions on pineapple on pizza, asked by Cookie Cat Gaming.
It was very good.
I haven't really tried it, so I don't know. I'm kind of opposed to it. Do you plan on making all Half-Life series in Google Translate? Okay, so that's kind of a misconception that we made Half-Life Google Translate Edition. I don't know why everyone just kind of assumes that we made it, especially because of like how we were acting all bewildered to like the results of it, as if we had made it and yet somehow are still acting like it's a brand new thing that we've never seen before. And
We don't make the things, we just play them.
yeah, we didn't make it. Binkus the Trinkus made it. Link in description. Are there any videos you want to do that you're not sure if you're going to get a chance to do? Asked by Forest Boy Productions.
A New Hope in Gmod.
Ah, yeah. We were gonna remake the entirety of Star Wars A New Hope in Gmod. Full movie. But yeah, I don't know if that's gonna ever happen. That'd be cool though. D2005 CRE27 asks, where do you expect to go with the channel? Don't know if you have long-term plans, but eventually you will run out of Half-Life games to play.
Well, you see, that's why we're trying to get more out there with our other content that's not Half-Life based, but the thing is, the YouTube algorithm doesn't like that.
I mean, that or just our subscribers don't like it.
It really varies, because sometimes, like, the YouTube algorithm just hates people, and it feels better to blame YouTube other than our fan base. So let's go with that.
Yeah, I would like to eventually get to the point where we could record any game we want and get roughly the same amount of views as we do when we do Half-Life videos now, because yeah, that would be cool. What are your thoughts on online school or regular school during this time in the world if you three still go to school? Asked by Potato Boy.
Literally garbage. I'm a college student who's been forced into doing online classes through Zoom. It's just so bad. Like I can't focus on anything.
I don't go to school anymore because I graduated high school and I'm not going to college. So, what was your favorite part of the Half-Life 2 Episode 3 mod? I wouldn't be surprised if you said none. Asked by Hackle, HA_CL.
I didn't like anything about the game. And like, I'm not saying that just because like being facetious or whatever. Like, I genuinely didn't like anything about the game itself. Like, the experience was all right just because it's me playing video game with friend, but like it was just so difficult to find anything to like about it gameplay wise.
When will you play Half-Life Alyx? I played it already and finished it. Mahogany has been in the process of playing it for like 2 years. He's I know, you're transcending the time-space continuum with your procrastination.
I started playing it back in like May, and then I stopped.
Besides the Star Wars machinima, what other projects have been lost?
Halo: The Next Generation, our review of the Solo movie.
I think I might still have the footage for that. Halo: Next Generation was a really big project that was gonna be really cool. That ended up dying. That was going to be a machinima series, obviously taking place in the Halo universe. Solo review, I mean, honestly, the solo review wouldn't have been lost. It's just that, like, by the time that I was finally going to edit it, it was so past the point of the movie coming out that it just seemed pointless. I mean, I guess I could edit it for the second channel just for fun now, but I definitely know there's more than that. I just can't think of any off the top of my head.
Wisps of Dracula was gonna be one of them, but I finally got Timbleweeds to come around to that one.
Yeah, that was fun. No one watched it though. I'm still fairly certain it was because YouTube didn't notify anyone about it, because every time I post it, literally, like, everyone is like, how have I never seen this before? So I still think it's just YouTube's fault, hopefully, unless it's like an extremely bad video and we're just unaware. But Nicholas Kremen asks, how difficult is it to come up with new video ideas you actually want to do instead of Half-Life but something's wacky? I mean, it's not difficult, it's just that we don't, because people don't usually watch it, so it just feels like a waste of time. I mean, we still do now and then just because we get bored of Half-Life, and we want to at least establish that we're a mixed content channel and not just solely focused on Half-Life. But when will you make Half-Life 2 Google Translated? Asked by someone whose name is in Russian and I can't read it.
We don't make the thing.
Thinkus the Trinkus is working on it right now. But yeah, we will play it and we will record it when it comes out. You can actually monitor their progress on Trello, which is kind of cool. It looks like it's going to be a while, though, before they're done with it.
Oh yeah, it's a long game.
Favorite Half-Life or Half-Life 2 mod? Asked by BAP.
I liked Decay a lot, but I think Opposing Force had the best content.
Opposing Force Google Translated?
Yeah, Opposing Force Google Translated.
Yeah, that one was pretty fun. Favorite mod we've recorded would probably be... Yeah, probably the Half-Life Google Translated mods. I can't really think of any other mods that we've filmed besides Leon's Half-Life 3 and the redub that we made, the redub mod. Which, I mean, of course that's going to be in my favorites because we made that and it's funny.
Link in description.
Yeah, set the record straight. We don't make Google Translated. We did do the redub though, the Half-Life, but the plot is slightly different. Every single voice line you hear in that video is us. Jack M asks, "Will there be a Deadwater Discord?" No.
What is Discord?
What is Discord? I've never heard of such program. It's definitely not what I'm using to speak to this human right now. We had a Discord for a few years, but it went to crap. And we're never gonna have a Discord again. Will you do a Minecraft Let's Play series someday? Asked by Willem Herka. I mean, maybe on the second channel. I don't know about the main channel. Not unless we become, like, mainstream.
I mean, sometimes we play Minecraft, and I upload that over on my channel.
Smelly 2.5 asks, "What 3 games do you plan to play in the future?" That's kind of specific and weird, but I still want to do Halo 2 and Halo 3 with you. Halo mods would be cool to do. I have a list, actually. I could open the list and look at them. I guess that's more than 3 games, but whatever. Mahogany Crafter asks, "Why is Mahogany so hot?"
I really can't answer that, but there's a lot of things. It could be my feckless charm, my personality. Could be a lot of things.
How did you come up with the Buy a Bot series? Asked by Windows Lover 124.
This one's all you.
Back in the day, back in like 2017, I think was when I uploaded it.
18.
2018. In 2018, I had a daily ritual where I would go on my computer and I would check Deadwater comments, and then I would check the Half-Life Reddit. That was back when everyone on the Half-Life Reddit was a cynical 45-year-old male, which have all been replaced by extremely overly enthusiastic 8-year-olds. But
Oh my.
there was a post made one morning by Fat Corky Guy, aka Fat Corky Guy, because I can't remember his other name. Porky the Corky. And he was like, "Hey, I put the Half-Life script through this bot writer thing, and this is what it spit out." And I read it, and I was like, "Hey, this sounds like a Full Life Consequences video." And then like the top voted comment was, "Somebody needs to make a machinima out of this." And I was like, "Oh heck, everybody's gonna be trying to make machinimas out of this now. I gotta go fast." I think it was like the next day I started working on it by myself, and then I completed it in like a day or two. I think I completed recording the footage for it, and then I asked Mahogany to narrate it, and he was like reluctantly agreed eventually.
It took him like a week of convincing.
And then he recorded it on his iPhone in his laundry room. And there was like a ton of background noise and stuff, so I had to like cut it out. But it ended up kind of making it funnier because it made his mic quality sound a million times worse, which automatically makes things like Full Life Consequences funnier because that's just how it was in the original. It got really popular, so Porky the Corky was like, "Hey, I'm gonna put the rest of the games through a Botnik predictive writer." He wrote all the, or not wrote, but he put all the scripts through the bot writer besides Portal and Portal 2 by a bot, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people believe that the bot written videos actually aren't written by a bot, and that we kind of just like, that it was a figure of speech, like we wrote it intentionally weird, and then just, you know, like, oh, robots are dumb, so like this is what it would be like if a robot wrote it. I don't know why that's such a strong misconception. I could understand if like a few people thought that, but it seems like a lot of people think that we wrote the scripts ourselves and there was no bot involvement. But yeah, It
Those
actually
are the
is.
kinds of people who don't read the description.
Yeah, really. We list all that information in the description of every Buy a Bot video, including links to our inspiration, Full Life Consequences, which people also accuse us of ripping off.
Don't get us wrong, we do, but we at least give credit.
We at least give credit where credit is due. Two Duck asks, "Are you drunk when you play games?"
Why does everybody ask that?
Because we act so strange. No, we're not drunk or high or anything. We're just really weird people. I can't really elaborate on that. We're just strange, okay? Favorite Garry's Mod maps, asked by Jeremy Bray. Excess Construct, GM Fork.
Those are our two big ones.
Those are like the two main ones. There's a few others though. Free Space is pretty cool. Free Space 13. Oh, GM_Highway. I basically lived on that map in Gmod for a very long time. Back before I met Marvel and Mahogany, I had a few other friends, and we would play Garry's Mod a lot. And almost every single solitary time we would play Garry's Mod, it would be on GM_Highway. One other map that I have a lot of really good memories associated with that I love to pieces is RP_Evo City 8, I think, which is, it's this RP map, not very well made, but there's something about it that I just love. And there's this there's this pizza shop with a working oven, and if you put any prop in the oven and then turn it on, it immediately turns to pizza.
Any prop.
We would stick like people in it.
Oh my
And
god.
turn them into pizza.
Kind of Hansel and Gretel stuff is that?
It was really fun. I love that map so much. It was really fun.
What's the Sunny Isles? GM_Sunny Isles.
Oh yeah, that was the very first time we ever recorded Harvey TV was on that map.
I think it was the second time. The first time is still unlisted on your channel, and that one's on Highway.
Are you sure? Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
When you stole my camera and with it the show.
Yeah, if we're gonna do half Alyx By Bot, this is asked by Faraway Gaming. If so, are you going to use the Source 2 models or the Source 1 models?
Whichever ones we spawn first.
Whichever ones work the best, and which other ones fit the art style the best, because I think one thing people haven't considered is that we don't have access to the Half-Life Alyx maps in Garry's Mod. So in order to make Half-Life Alyx, we're gonna have to use maps that aren't in Half-Life Alyx, because we don't have access to the maps that are in Half-Life Alyx, because that's on Source 2 and Garry's Mod is on Source 1.
Why hasn't anyone just reconstructed them on Source 1?
It's an extremely labor-intensive process. So
You'd think there'd be somebody who would do it.
it would take a long time, like years probably, to do all of them, but
You only need a few.
we're probably just gonna have to try to find maps that resemble things from Half-Life Alyx. If the Source 2 models look out of place, then we'll probably just use Source 1. Carl Martin asks, hunt down the Cicero? So in other words, are we gonna do Google Translated hunt down the Freeman? If Binkus decides that he wants to do that and Google Translate the entirety of Hunt Down the Freeman, sure, we'd be happy to record that. It would be really funny.
Yeah, I think that's just sadism at that point, though.
Jackman asks, what do you think of your channel? Do you want to answer first?
Honestly, if I'm speaking like real, I'm pretty proud of where we've come. Didn't expect that anyone would ever watch our videos, let alone like subscribe for more. Honestly, just being able to make people laugh as often as I can is really epic. and now that I get to do that on this channel, it's really cool. Honestly, I'm proud of not proud of where we started necessarily, but it's where we are that matters.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I love doing it. But like from an outside perspective, my feelings with the channel kind of like fluctuate depending on where we're at the time. I've gone through a lot of different stages. I've gone through stages where I like hate our channel and I think it's super cringe, but then I've gone through stages where I really like our content and I feel proud of what we do. But right now I'm pretty proud of it. For a while there I didn't really like it, and if I wasn't part of the channel I probably wouldn't watch us, but I think I'd watch us now if I wasn't part of the channel. Judah Reneke asks, how old are you guys? I'm 21.
I'm 20.
And Marvel is 12. To this day. He's still 12. I actually don't know Marvel's age because I'm still thrown off by him lying about his age when we first met. And I never really learned what his actual age was. I never like dedicated it to memory, so.
He just turned 19.
Okay. Noah asks, how many colors of the alphabet does it take to hear the number 36, left or right?
It's always right.
Right's always right.
Always right. There's a reason why they call it right.
Yeah.
The only reason why they don't call left wrong is because it scares away too many people.
5K73 asks, why do the bones scream?
Next question.
Hold on, I had to turn the light on. I just realized the way I timed that made it sound like I got so spooked by the bones question that I had to turn my light on.
I was about to say.
S4110 asks, why are you so good?
What?
I guess just existing in general. I'm assuming.
I'm not.
I don't know. We follow a lot of trends from previous eras, so maybe that's why we're so good.
Call us traditionalists. It's true.
Can't beat the old school. Oh, one thing that I wanted to talk about that no one asked is what are my favorite YouTubers, which would be Peter Netter.
He's like, I'm gonna have a baby.
And Venturian Tale, I still like them. I mean, I haven't watched them in a really long time, but like 90% of their video library are still like some of my favorite things that have ever been put on YouTube. So they're still my favorite.
Every video game store has a dark underbelly.
But yeah, Peter Netter's lit. Go watch.
We'll be right back, boy.
He's funny. I think most of the people that are subscribed to us actually watch Peter Netter anyways.
What about my favorite YouTubers?
Go.
Okay. Technoblade is up there, obviously. Caleb City is a really good one. John Stone for Pokemon content.
If you could choose any YouTuber to do a collab with, who would you choose? I mean, it doesn't have to be someone in the Half-Life community, because I don't think I would choose anyone in the Half-Life community to collab with.
Who would you pick then?
Peter Netter and Jordan from Venturian Tale. I think if we had time to get used to each other, we'd be a good fit.
I think Venturian Tale would be up there on my list.
Toilet paper.
Calling anyone